Hi, my name is Mike Birbiglia, and I feel earnest about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
Hello and welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Sitting here as always with Sonam Movsesian, Matt Gorley.
Hi.
We have a wonderful team here, works very hard. An inside source has told me that instead of doing his job, Eduardo's watching football. Are you watching football right now?
Oh, shit.
Eduardo, what are you watching? Eduardo, what are you... Eduardo.
I thought you were my boy.
Eduardo.
This whole time.
Eduardo, what are you watching?
Nothing.
No, what are you watching? We're about honesty here.
Listen,
Wow.
we just wrapped an interview with a guest, and I respectfully waited until that
Why don't you just tell me what you're watching?
I'm watching the semifinals of the UEFA Champions League right now. It's a game between Barcelona and Inter Milan.
Excuse me, it's Barcelona.
Barcelona and Inter Milan.
Blade.
Wow, Blade, fuck you, man.
But so listen. How dare you, Eduardo? How dare you? All I do is laud you for your professionalism. I think you're the only professional one here. And then I find out that you're watching Barcelona play who? Los Estadios del Dandos?
Inter Milan, and they just scored. Thank you very much.
Listen, let me tell you something.
You missed it?
Yes.
Oh! You missed it. Who are you rooting for?
Barcelona.
It's Barcelona. Por favor. God, I wish you'd learn the language.
White-splaining.
Excuse me? I am white-splaining.
I knew it.
To Eduardo.
It's a new term.
So you had the gall. You're in the presence of Conan O'Brien. We're making a seminal podcast, and you are watching football.
You were on your fifth bit, and I decided to just...
Go get yourself. You're gonna let him talk to you like
Exactly.
that? You're gonna let him talk to
You and I are both. Oh, look at this. We are all channeling the same scene. Goodfellas, and Spider just dissed.
Man.
Of course, I would be.
Tommy.
I'd be Tommy.
Yeah.
I'd be Tommy.
And
you're gonna let him talk to you like that. You're gonna let him talk to you like that. And now, of course, you know where this goes.
Yes.
I start
About to
shooting
get
away
shot.
at you.
this is a rite of passage because this exact scenario happened to me early on in the podcast as well, where I was Spider, and now you got
It's a rite of passage, and now you have to be shot in the foot.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then you come back later on with a bandage on your foot, and I kill you. Listen, I know I do a lot of bits, and they seem like a waste of time to you, and I'm sure football, as you call it, I call it soccer here in the United States. It's more important to you. But you know what? You do such a good job. I think you should be allowed to watch football.
Thank you.
While I'm...
I
we all
do.
watch-
I'm going to put something on my TV.
No,
YouTube on.
Yeah,
Well, what would you... First of all, Eduardo, mad respect.
Thank you.
For your comeback and also for your devotion to the most popular sport in the world.
That's right.
Or as I call it, El Mundo. Sona, what would you be secretly watching if you were secretly watching while we were doing the podcast?
Love is Blind.
Okay. Is that a good show?
I mean, I only really watched the first season, really.
It's harsh though, right?
It's pretty intense.
Because people say yes to somebody and then they see what they look like
Yeah.
and they turn them down.
Some of them do, yeah. It
Oh,
just, I
boy.
mean, is love blind? Is it?
That's a
It's
profound
such
question, and it's the title of the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we really down under?
What?
Above deck?
Below deck.
Oh shit. And what about you? What are you watching over
I'm
there?
just watching Casino Royale as we speak.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah.
This is when we are first introduced to Daniel Craig
Pretty good, huh?
as Bond, and he
Yeah.
killed it.
Yeah, he did.
He really killed it. This
Yeah.
is the great scene where he's chasing. Okay, so that's what you're watching.
Parkour scene, yeah.
Or I'd watch YouTube.
You know what I'd be watching?
Huh.
Clips of my show.
Oh my God.
Classic Conan.
Oh my God.
You guys would see me not really paying attention, and then you'd take my phone away from me. Oh, there's Conan talking to Al Roker in 2004.
yeah.
Not even a particularly good interview. But me going, look at him. Conan's got sideburns. That just kills me. That's great. Oh, what's he going to say now? Oh, look at him. He's only 32.
Oh my God.
Listen, you're a maestro at what you do.
Thank you.
And I'm going to turn this back around to a compliment. You're a maestro. And all I think what Blade did essentially was expose that you can do this job with one hand tied behind your back.
Interesting. I'm still pissed. I'm sorry.
Are you still? I know you're legitimately angry at Blake.
Yes, I think that was a foul move.
Boy, you ratted him out.
Well,
What did Eduardo do wrong?
Now, because we are real people. Now fans get to listen for the eventual
Get
payback.
back. That's right.
The get back.
Okay.
And
Watch
when's
your
it going to happen? How's it going to happen? We don't know.
But I thought we all had a tacit understanding that it's us against him. And when you feed the beast like that and break the union, you know.
Also, can I say this? It's not only that, it's worse because
he's not even on your side, and you just gave him.
But listen to me. Listen to me. It's worse because I check out the occasional Reddit thread. I know what the word is on the street.
You do.
Eduardo is one of the most respected people in this room. The rest of us can be fools and goons. Right. Eduardo has this mellifluous voice. He knows what he's doing. He occasionally speaks. It's always good. He is the one in this room who is the adult, the cool one. You betrayed the Jesus in the room. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, the Jesus.
That makes you Judas.
That makes you Judas.
I'm the Judas. I'm the Judas. Well, you know what? I think I just wanted people to understand Eduardo is more than just an engineer. He's a human being. And I wanted to show another facet of
You're going down.
how-
You're going down.
What do you mean?
And
What do you mean?
Eduardo's coming for you.
No.
And it's going to be, his retribution will be terrible.
Like John Wick, baby.
Like you just killed his dog.
You killed the puppy.
You killed his puppy.
Yeah.
I think what awaits you, Blay, is horrific. And I tremble just imagining being you.
Oh my God. Eduardo's watching soccer and you're getting mad at Blake. Can you get mad at Eduardo?
Add
Please
soda
do
to the
something.
list.
Yeah. Sona?
What the fuck? Oh
Sona.
my God.
See, he's tearing us apart. We can't let this happen.
Soccer.
Sona,
You're on the list.
First of all,
you watch TV all the time when
Sona.
you're working for Conan.
I know.
You gotta have.
Sona.
How can you not have sympathy
Sona,
for
stop
this?
calling it soccer. It's football.
Oh my God. You just said it's soccer because we're in America.
It's football. And I'll tell you something else.
Don't say it like that.
Eduardo, that's how you say his name. Eduardo es mi hermano.
No,
Sí, hermano. Dime.
Sí, es mi amigo.
Are you pronouncing your name incorrectly?
No, it was
No,
right.
es Eduardo.
because it's not the
No,
D?
it's perfect.
No, es
Oh,
perfecto. No, perfecto. Perfecto. Eduardo is above reproach. And I feigned turning on Eduardo to trick the rest of you to expose what rats you really are.
Oh, remember when the studio wasn't working properly?
Oh,
He
wow.
fucked it up.
Wow,
Remember?
Sona, what
Yes.
are you doing?
Yes.
Sona, what are you doing?
I want you to get mad at Eduardo. I
Why?
just want you to get mad at him.
We
This
gotta
is a
stick
sad
together,
side
you
of
guys. We
Remember,
gotta
it
stick
broke.
together.
Something broke.
You know what I love?
We have
It wasn't
nothing if we're
working.
not one.
I
You know,
Remember the audio wasn't working?
Union strong.
Who was here? Who's the guest?
It's
Oh
Sona.
my God.
Sona. It's called audio.
Oh Jesus!
Listen, I'm going to say one thing, which is I want listeners to look at what just happened here. I was given some information by Blay, which I took. I turned against Eduardo, exposing him and embarrassing him. Then, through a series of deft maneuvers, tricked all of you into bickering
This
with
is
one
what I'm
another.
saying.
Now, and then I became Eduardo's defender, his amigo,
Yes.
and the one who says football and not soccer. And so now I have emerged as the hero of the story.
What?
And you are the villain, Sona, as are you, Blay.
You're cool. You're cool. Fuck you. You're
Yes.
cool.
Hey!
I am a matador.
Yeah, fuck you, Blake. I'll turn
Very
against
few
Blake.
movements.
I'll turn against Blake.
Oh, look what he's done to us! Look what he's done to us. This
Please,
is
we
this
have
is sad. And Adam, you're being awfully quiet over
I know,
there.
you're just
Smart.
sitting there quietly.
And
Adam,
you're the,
Adam,
the
deep
real
down.
boss here. And that,
Adam.
were you watching football?
Deep down, you know I'm the maestro, don't you? At manipulating the people around me so that I always come on top.
100%. I'm just being quiet because I'm letting this unfold. This is good content.
You're watching the maestro conduct the orchestra
Yes,
to
Loving it.
perfection.
I'm loving it.
Man,
Perfect. You're a good guy too. Eduardo and Adam, you're the good guys in this room. All right. Well, the important thing is, once again, I come out on top. My guest today is a hilarious comedian, writer, director, and actor whose latest special, The Good Life, is now available to stream on Netflix. Very excited he's with us today. He is a fine fellow. Mike Birbiglia, welcome. I do feel like we have maybe 110 different ways in which we intersect, in which we have commonality.
Yes.
I'm hard pressed to think of anyone else who I have more in common with who's not in my family that I have more in common with, because you, sir, Mr. Mike Birbiglia, if that even is your real name, clearly one of those stage names, just to sound cool. You hail from where all my people come from.
Yeah, your people are from Worcester.
Worcester, Massachusetts, and they all went to Holy Cross College, or the Cross,
which is where my dad went.
Yep.
And my dad is a retired doctor. Your parents were doctors.
Yep. No, my dad was a doctor. My mother was a lawyer, not a doctor, and so that's insulting. You come in here and start.
You thought that was insulting? I just thought that was a basic misunderstanding.
You're right. I don't know why I went to insult. That's so weird. But I'm so mad at you right now.
You're so sensitive since the Oscars.
Yes, I am.
I feel like
yes.
Since you didn't win.
Yeah.
I just want to hold space for Matt and Sona today because I feel like you guys have really probably been through it with Conan's ego this year.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that if you host the Oscars, you get an Oscar. And when the night was out, I thought one of you had my Oscar. Or David, and no one had it. And then they said, no, you don't get an Oscar for hosting the Oscars. And did you see the fucking fit I threw backstage?
Everybody heard about it.
I smashed stuff.
Yeah. You hit Ariana Grande in the face.
Well,
with an Oscar.
I tried to, but she's quick. I took a swing at Ariana Grande. She ducked, went under it, and she came back with 2 rabbit punches to the kidney really fast. And I just went down hard. Anyway, you got me distracted on my physical fight with Ariana Grande. We overlap in so many ways.
Yeah, I know.
And let me begin by saying you very kindly sent me your latest special. And I'm going to start with this because I loved it. And I love your work. And you did a one-man show. And I'm going to give it a quick shout out. Now it'll also get its own special shout out. It's called The Good Life. And it's on Netflix. And I will say that for my money, nobody does sustained tone in comedy as well as you. You create this beautiful tone that's very funny and then occasionally very meaningful. And it's just a thing of beauty, and you lay it out there. And for just tone alone, I think you might be the reigning champ. I will say that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're hilarious. We've known each other a long time. But I was thinking about, you were talking in your special, and I've thought about this before, and we've talked about the ways in which we are alike. But in this special, you're talking about all these things that I relate to 1,000%.
Oh, interesting.
Meaning we come from the same part of the world exactly, which is I grew up in Brookline, Massachusetts, but my parents are both Worcester people. My grandfather was a traffic cop in downtown Worcester, and all my people come from Worcester. And you talk about what it's like growing up with a father who's a physician, a doctor, and how there's a lack of physical affection.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just went through this list of things that I was checking off. You're going through a traumatic thing with your father, who you talk about, he has a stroke. And this is, tell you're in the hands of a master when you're talking about something as powerful as a stroke and a lot of other heavy things. And it's hilarious.
Oh,
it's really good. But I lost both my parents this year within days of each other. Which always sounds like a murder or a motorcycle accident. Literally, my dad passed, and then 3 days later, my mom passed. And you talk about trying to wrap your head around your dad's mortality, but also growing up in a family where people aren't constantly saying, I love you. In fact, it's not said, and there isn't a lot of demonstrative physical affection. And then generationally, how you and your wife, me and my wife, every conversation with my kids starts with, I love you, and them saying, I love you, and ends with, I love you, and them saying, I love you.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the middle of the conversation, and just so you remember, I love you. And I mean, it's just too much. That's my point.
Too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. Oh,
we're overdoing it.
Yeah,
we should go back a couple of clicks towards our parents' generation.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was very touched by your special, and I mean, it's funny. It will be funny to anyone, but I remember thinking, I'm so glad Mike is coming in today. It is Mike, right?
Mike Birbiglia.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm here.
It says Dennis Leary here.
I was booked months ago.
It says Dennis Leary.
I mean, it's fine.
Well, he's also from Worcester.
Yeah.
It just says Worcester
Let's
Comic.
just go ahead and do it. By the way,
Jesus Christ. No, but you
Just the man speak.
Just put up with him. I am going to stop talking now, but
I emailed you the special, and partly because I know we have all those things in common. Like it's an absurd amount of things in common. And then I said, please share this with elite members of your staff, including Matt, Sona, and then I wrote the White Stripes, and then I crossed out White Stripes.
Well, you know, it's also,
but then they didn't get it from you.
No,
They were like,
David,
oh,
Conan,
we didn't get that message.
Yeah.
We
Conan
got the
didn't
link,
send it
but
to
not
us.
the message. Yeah.
Where he
and then
calls
I-
us elite.
and then
elite.
who was announced
Yeah.
this morning as being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
The White Stripes, yeah.
Oh,
So
I
it's
didn't know
almost
that.
like you foretold the future.
Yeah.
And a quick shout out to Jack and Meg for that
Oh my
amazing
God.
job.
Bearing
'cause
the lead is that your gatekeeping praise that
That's
came
what
to
I'm
us.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
I don't know.
And then
I swear to God, every day I'm on my to-do list is get rid of Matt and Sona. And then I just don't get to it.
day?
Every day it's on the list with like more brown sugar. Well, the granola's running low.
The problem
make sure
with
you wear denim with denim. You know,
the problem with the problem with that list is that Sona probably goes over the list with you.
I
And
do.
then
does.
she's on that
Yeah.
and then
as being axed.
and then she
Yeah.
turns it into raise for Sona, but
Yes.
never raise for Matt.
No,
Yeah,
not
what's
just
up with
for me.
that?
Well, it's a lot of like, okay, make sure you put this on the list. And I'm like, yeah, whoop, boop, 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 boop. But
And when
I'm
you
not
make
really
that sound
doing
when you write the list, it's a giveaway usually that you're not. It should be a giveaway. Boop, boop, boop,
yeah.
boop, boop.
Also,
Yeah.
you're miming holding the pad here and the pen here, so that there's never getting written down.
Excuse
That's how
me,
I do it.
I think this should be about Mike Birbiglia. And
You're
one
right.
thing that I
wow.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt was trying to make it
No.
not be about that.
I don't like it when someone prattles on with their own voice and doesn't let the guests talk, which reminds me of a story. In 1967, I wanted a cat, and my parents took me to the Angel Memorial. Oh, well, that can wait. Mike, there is so much crazy stuff that you talk about that I can relate to, but here's something you talk about in the special, which I'm so glad you brought up, which is our visit
Yeah.
to the Pope. By the time this airs, the Pope will have been gone for quite a while. It will no longer be the top story in the news, but you talk about the Pope inviting a bunch of comedians, and we were among that elite squad
Yes.
of comedians that were invited. And it was he spoke to us in Italian, and you talk about this in the special, what he said. And actually it was quite beautiful. It was about comedy and comedy's place. And I thought you did a very nice job. And it's very powerful now that your special's coming out because he is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I was impressed with what he said to us.
Yeah, he basically said comedy in these divisive times, comedy has the power to unite us, to bring people together. And when you make at least one audience member laugh, God smiles also.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was beautiful.
You know, it's funny. He spoke to us in Italian, so it just sounded like a waiter was telling us our options.
Oh my God.
He actually said tagliatelle at one point. But then
I find that very offensive as an Italian American.
You
should. That's how I meant
that
it.
That your brain just goes to this sort of Italian food stereotypes. It's like after all we've been through as immigrants in the early 20th century.
Wait a minute. The Irish were immigrants too. Sona came here like 6 weeks ago.
No,
I mean,
He's not bashing the
that's-
Irish people.
no, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is he said in his speech, "Oh, you want a meatball?" Remember that part? I'm sorry, which part of this is offensive? Do you remember the part where he ended it with, "God bless you, and do you want a meatball?" Do you recall?
No, I don't remember that part of it.
But weird that I remember.
No,
it
no,
that way.
I faintly remember it. Yeah. No, but it was
I'm trying to make you complicit in my terrible riff.
Did the
Don't
Pope,
you remember?
Did the Pope speak? Did the Pope say anything to you?
They bring us up one by one in a line.
True.
And
true story.
And we got a handshake. And
by the way, Chris Rock, Conan, Stephen Colbert, David Sedaris, and in the special I point out, I know I'm at the bottom of the list.
Not so. I didn't like that self-deprecating quip. And I'm not a fan of self-deprecating comedy. But it is really funny that the way both of us found out, which is the way I think all of us found out, is that apparently the second person closest to God, other than the Pope, is comedian Jim Gaffigan.
That's right.
Because you say in your special that Jim Gaffigan, that your mother said you were called by God. And you went, no, I actually got a call from Jim Gaffigan. And I remember my phone
was called by Stephen Colbert, who may have been called by God.
But I think but Gaffigan is like the go-to.
He's in the mix.
Vatican guy.
Yeah.
I think Colbert wants to be the go-to Vatican guy, but I think it might be. I think Gaffigan had performed. I want to say he performed for the Pope.
He opened for the Pope.
He opened for the Pope.
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Yes, for real.
True story.
Wait, really?
True story.
Yes. I thought you were doing a bit.
No, he came out and he opened for the Pope.
But
I've opened for the devil on the road.
Okay, you know
6
what?
times.
I get so mad at myself when
Why?
Because I believed he opened for the Pope.
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
He did open for the Pope.
You did a joke, so I thought you were making fun of me.
Right, but my joke doesn't negate that truth.
It does
It doesn't help. Yeah.
Mamma mia, I'm the Pope.
Yes.
That's the bit. But now I'm saying earnestly to you that Jim Gaffigan opened for the Pope.
Yes.
What?
True story.
No, that is a true story. And Jim Gaffigan was
the Pope funny to follow Jim Gaffigan?
Well, here's what I hear back is that the Pope that Gaffigan was killing, and the Pope was like, "Get him off stage! Get him off! Get him off!
Going long.
He's going long! I said 7 minutes!
I gave him a leather light.
I have a bit about Hot Pockets.
Yeah. Oh no! Step on my Hot Pocket joke!
The light.
Because the Hot Pocket, what's inside her? As a meatball! Anyway. I started
by the way, he just died, the Pope.
You're
mocking,
but you know what?
You're mocking the Pope with an Italian stereotypical voice. He literally just died. His body's still warm.
No, it's not warm anymore.
Argentinian.
No, he's not on a frying. They don't have the.
It's so fresh.
He's not on a frying pan.
No, he's not.
Says Conan respectfully.
No, I'm saying he doesn't have one of those French fry lights on him. He's not still warm.
He's Argentinian.
He was born. Yes, he is.
Did the Pope say anything to you when you walked up to him? Because we had a moment with him. Did he say anything to you? Because he said something to me.
All he said to me is, "Who's a Birbiglia?" And I'm like, he does. It's like a one-man show. It's very good. And he said, "I don't have time." No, I don't. He did not say something to me. We had an exchange. I just said, "Thank you so much, Your Holiness, for having me, and this is an honor," and shook hands. And I got the impression that it was an assembly line that they were cranking through us. What did he say to you?
For me, it was, it was pretty intense. He
happened?
Leaned in, spoke into my ear. He goes, "You are Jesus." And now he's dead, and so nobody can substantiate this. But it's like, I don't know.
I'm sure you know what, the whole thing's on tape.
Yeah, I guess.
I thought maybe he said, "Let me tell you something. These other guys are fuckers, but you really."
He was like,
this impression.
He was like,
awful.
"I like the Leno. Maybe I'm a Leno guy."
He went away and he come back, just like Jesus.
When he came back in the 10 o'clock slot, I thought, is anybody even watching this?
It was, I have to tell you.
Oh my God, what happened to you?
Listen, and first of all, can I say something?
He was so mad at
But
first.
can I say something? Sona, you are correcting 2 people for their Pope impression. The only 2 people in the room who met and spoke to the Pope.
Oh,
We are
okay.
doing an exact
This is
replica
accurate.
of what he sounded like.
Okay, okay,
We're
sorry.
professionals.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This is how
We're
the Pope
Even though
speaks.
he's not even Italian. So that's the thing that's really surprising.
No, but he spoke Italian.
Okay, but he had an Italian accent when he spoke English?
You know what? He actually does the voice of, "It's a me, Mario." He does. That's him.
In fairness, in the special, I'm guilty of saying,
Yippee!
of saying, who's that? I'm gonna make a pizza on the Eucharist. Which I'm sure if my dad ever sees the special, he will not like.
I've always believed that your home should be an expression of who you are. I have that like tattooed on my low back. I could have had so many things tattooed down there, and that's what I chose.
Down there.
Yeah. Anyway, whether you're redecorating a single space or furnishing your entire home, Ashley has styles that balance timeless appeal and modern trends to bring your personal look home. You don't want it to look like someone else decorated your home.
Yeah.
Ashley offers, good job, Sona. Ashley offers, don't know how I do it without you. Ashley offers well-crafted, affordable pieces built to stand up to real life, not phony pretend life. They offer fast, reliable white glove delivery right to your door. Nice. Ding dong, hello. Hey, what are you guys wearing white gloves for? We're here from Ashley. Whoa, you guys are wearing white gloves. That's right. We said white glove service. You sure did. You guys kept your promise. Visit your local Ashley store or head to ashley.com to find your style. Anyway, I'm glad we took care of the Pope, I think. We took care of the Pope. But it was a lovely experience to be there. And it wasn't just American comedians. We were a small contingent. It was comedians from all around the world.
From all around the world. And then I met Liza, your wife. I met your son.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a question, which is, because, the special's all about what can I teach my daughter and what have I learned from my dad?
Yep.
And so my question for you is, your son is great.
Yeah.
What did you do right? What do you think you did right?
I will give, all joking aside, not all joking, I'm sure I'll get back around to it, but my wife is, and you will back me up on this, because you've known her for a long time, but everyone here, she is a lovely person, just a great soul, and she was just, and is such an amazing mom. I think I'm a good dad, but I think she is the stellar parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I give her a lot of credit. But I also think you talk about this, which I think is really nice, because I can't stress enough, the special is very funny, but then there are these just great nuggets in there that burble up of wisdom and thoughtfulness. And you talk a lot about just modeling good behavior.
Yeah.
That kids pick up on everything, and your kids have watched you and your wife be decent people.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any replacement for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? My kids have seen me be inept, clumsy. They've seen me make an ass of myself. In different ways. They're continually shocked that I seem to have made something of myself in the world. But I don't think they've seen a lot of bad behavior from me. And I mean, and look, Matt, Sona, you guys have kids. I think that is 90% is monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
Kids look at their parents, and you talk about it in your special that you've kind of tried to just be nice, good people, right?
Yeah, I mean, because when I was a kid, I joke in the special, but it's true. Is that when I was a kid, my dad was a doctor. In his free time, he got his law degree, and then I go, "That's how much he didn't want to be a dad." He's like, "What can I do in these slots of time when I would be parenting?" Yep. I go, in fairness, we weren't great kids. We always wanted a dad, and he wanted another secondary degree. Our goals were at odds. But that was one of the things about being a kid. Is like my dad was very serious about his job, and then he would every now and then he would just shout. He's just very old school, and I feel like I've always grappled with that. I've always thought if I'm ever a parent, and I'm now a parent, I'm just never going to do that.
Yep.
And it wasn't just my dad. I mean, in Massachusetts, I'm sure you saw this all the time. The parents were wild.
Well, I recognized this part too, which is my dad, incredibly sweet. And, when we, were kids, he had a temper, and he would uncork sometimes. And it was... I think it was a kind of generational. Like my dad, again, you talked in your special about, you said your dad didn't, instead of being sent off to fight in Vietnam because he was in medicine. They sent him to Texas.
Yeah, to be on a base.
The exact same thing happened to my dad in the Korean War.
Oh, no kidding.
So he was sent to Texas, and he didn't really do anything that had anything to do with the military. So when my dad passed, we read in the instructions that he had left that when he and my mom died, the instructions were like, he wanted like the full military honors at the at the funeral, which he's entitled to.
Yeah.
And so I gave the eulogy for my dad. My brother Luke gave the eulogy for my mom because it was a double funeral. And I said, first of all, let's get something straight, because there's like a big flag on his coffin and and I just said, my dad was in the Army the way Captain Crunch was in the Navy. And the reason I felt okay with that is I think that would have really made my dad laugh. And when my dad laughed, he grabbed his shoulders, and because it was all about you don't want to express too much. It's not just too much emotion, also joy. Everything's kind of bottled up in this Catholic way.
Oh yeah,
and so he would uncork sometimes and get angry and frustrated. And I remember thinking, it's just generational. I'm sure he had witnessed that with his parents. I just don't ever want to be that dad. I didn't want to be angry dad.
Me neither. So one time I said to my daughter, when my dad, one day I was emotional about something. Like I was like, I don't know if we should do blah, blah. And then my daughter goes, Dad, why are you yelling? I go, oh, this isn't yelling.
I know what yelling is.
I go, just so you know, when I was a kid, my dad, and I literally said to her, I'm gonna shout right now. This isn't me shouting. I'm doing an impression of my dad. He would go, where are my goddamn keys? And she was like, oh my God. And she was like, he's not shouting like that now. And I'm like, you're stealing my jokes.
Yeah.
That's straight out of the special. Yes. She's really got it.
For my dad, in the famous Laura and Arf, there's a special spoon that has a serrated edge for eating grapefruit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a grapefruit spoon. It has a little serrated edge, so you can. And there was one in our house, and my dad liked to use it to eat his grapefruit in the morning. And one morning, he couldn't find his grapefruit spoon, and just listen to the guy narrate the explosion of the Hindenburg. It's a little similar, and so we just clock things, and we clock things where we say, like, I love my dad. My dad was an amazing person. I'm gonna try to not do that part.
But it's interesting because no matter what you do as a parent, I feel like what I've discovered is it doesn't mean you're better as a parent than your parents were to you.
Right.
You're just ultimately different. Because I was raised very Catholic, et cetera. And so, we don't really do a lot of the Catholic stuff. And then we're in the Vatican, and my daughter's looking around, and she goes, Dad, who's Jesus? And I was like, oh, wow, I have really overlooked a lot of major historical facts in my education of my daughter.
Even just for pop culture.
No, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, she knows the Greek gods and the Roman gods and
she knows the band
Norse
Jesus
gods.
and Mary Chain.
But I was like, oh, it's interesting because that is something that since going to the Pope, I have started telling her more about what Jesus taught.
Yes.
Which I think is generally net positive with some caveats.
I think we can all agree that the core, not just of Christianity, but the core teachings of many religions, they have this commonality, this beautiful, all in their own different way, but the core tenets of many religions are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Just about how you should treat other people, humility. And then we, of course, over the centuries have added all of this glop to it. And it's turned into, mega churches and, virtue signaling and insanity. But if you just go to the basic tenets, they're very beautiful.
Yes.
And
Pope Francis seem to embody a lot of the best aspects of Christianity and Catholicism.
I remember, and this is a funny thing to seize on, but he was a very humble man, Pope Francis. And when he came into the room, I don't know if you noticed this, did you notice his shoes? He was wearing like worn kind of walking earth shoe, like Mephisto kind of.
Oh yeah.
They were just they were shoes that you would pick up at a very inexpensive store.
Like there was Florsham or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. They were just very basic, kind of worn shoes that a guy would wear on a bus, or the guy who's driving the bus. And I remembered thinking there was no sense of the pomp and the gold and the rings, and I thought that was impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that one ring, the papal ring.
Well, and he won that NBA championship.
Yeah.
For the Mavs.
Yes, Mavericks. Well, I made the mistake of saying Mavericks, and he said, "Who says Mavs?" They say, "Call it the Mavs." Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He said meatball.
We beat the Nuggets in the finals. They went into overtime. Now I'm doing New York.
What's happening?
New York Pope.
What we're gonna do is edit out all of my stuff where the Pope is speaking in an offensive Italian, and just keep yours in, and then we're gonna post-tape me saying things like, "Please stop, Mike. Please, the man is gone."
Yeah. I want to know about these notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to know what
here.
the notes are doing.
I told him the two people I've seen in my career who had the most notes when they came out were Gary
Shandling.
Gary Shandling, and Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers had a lot of notes. And I recently ran into Melissa Rivers, and I said, I remembered your mom, whenever time she came on my show, she was backstage with tons of, and she filled in for me notes. She said, "Mom really believed in preparing." So you have brought your notes with you.
I just had a couple questions for you guys.
Okay.
Because I talk about it in the special. Did you guys have a sex talk growing up?
No.
I did not, no.
I did.
Ugh.
But I gave it to my dad.
What was it?
I want to get me some sex, is what you said.
Dad, you're gonna want to be with a woman. No, he just gave me the most uncomfortable right before dropping me off to high school. Like, okay, you're gonna want to try drugs and have sex, and just be safe and don't overdo either of them. Have a great day.
Wow, that's
it was
not
great.
bad advice.
No,
that's
it was
pretty
really good.
good.
And for that reason, I didn't do either for a long time.
And I've been accused of overdoing sex. I don't know what that means.
What?
Yeah,
Overdid
you
it.
overdid it. What?
I didn't have a sex talk growing up, but when I was probably around 20, I was living with my girlfriend for a summer, and then my dad...
And she had the talk with you. We're going to do something soon.
My dad was
going to be scary.
My dad was very upset about it, and he just sort of like, before I left, he looked at me for a little bit, and he goes, "You're playing with fire."
Oh,
my God.
And that was the whole conversation.
that was your sex talk?
Yeah. And I was like, I got a hose. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh, that's...
So that,
Don't involve
I
the
did
hose.
not get a sex talk, and I'm
Waiting
still
for it?
waiting.
still waiting. Yeah. Oh, this is the thing I'll say. I take the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast premise, I think, much more seriously than the other guests. Last time, I demanded to have a real friendship with Conan.
Yeah.
Since then, we visited the Pope.
Yep.
And we had coffee in Brooklyn.
We did.
There were 2 definitive dates.
And I am coming on your podcast
You're
when I
coming
can
on
get
my
my ass
podcast?
to New York.
Yep.
And I feel badly because we walked in and your assistant was here,
yep.
who works with you on the podcast.
Yep.
And she has an antiquated name.
Mabel.
Mabel.
Mabel Lewis, yeah.
It's not a name you hear all, but Mabel. You don't hear Mabel a lot. And
She's gonna love that.
But I
she has an antiquated name.
Yeah.
My God.
no, and she was wearing a bonnet.
She was wearing a bonnet.
She was wearing a bonnet, and she was
It was a horse. She came on in a horse-drawn carriage.
And but she was in the podcast room when I walked in. This very nice young woman wearing a bonnet, and she was working a loom when I came.
It was a
in.
loom. Yeah.
She had an antiquated name, said Conan. I mean, that's so...
I know.
She seems lovely, and I'll be seeing her at the podcast.
Yes.
And I yelled at her for even daring to be in here. Mock yelled at her, and I said, for symmetry, she needs to scream at me when I come to your podcast.
But I want to move my friendship with Conan to a quarterly this year. Yeah.
You mean
right now we did two meetings in the last year and a half.
Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to be in New York in June. And that's when this drops?
That's when this drops.
It drops, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we should get together in June, and I'll either do your podcast or we'll meet up for more than coffee. What's more than coffee? A lunch.
I think a lunch, yeah.
Okay. Not a dinner. I won't do a dinner with you.
Okay, fair.
Next year.
We'll see.
So we went to Italy. My daughter was there. Your son was there.
Mm-hmm.
And so my daughter met Conan. Of course, just thinks he's another person going to the Vatican.
Yeah.
Doesn't just this tall man going to the Vatican also.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the Oscars come on, we show her the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, remember him? Conan from the Vatican. So that...
How old is your daughter? She's 44.
She's 44 years old. Yeah. No, she just turned 10, but we showed her the Oscars and we laughed at the Adam Sandler bit a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's really silly, him wearing a hooded sweatshirt.
Mm-hmm. And
the next day I drove her to school and I was wearing a hooded sweatshirt. And she goes, "You look like Adam." And I go, "Adam who?" And she goes, "Adam from the Oscars." I think that's the only time he's ever been referred to as Adam from the Oscars.
Yes. That's, you know what you said in your special? And
That's cute.
Which was sweet was that whenever you're out in the real world and someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, I love your comedy." You had this great line about your kid's response.
Yeah. I said to her, because I was like thinking, I was like, that's so weird for her probably. Someone's like, "Oh, you're a great comedian." And I walked a few blocks. I go, "What do you think when people say stuff like that?" And she goes, "It's a waste of my time." I was like, that's the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me. God. And I know Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
No,
that killed me.
It's really funny. My kids have a great, healthy disinterest for my shenanigans professionally. And I think way deep down, they're proud of if I do some good work, but mostly, again, a waste of their time.
Yeah.
And I remember walking down the street, and I was with my daughter. And do you ever, I reuse some lines, and what I get a lot is "You're much taller in person."
Sure.
I get that all the time. And so I just learned the thing that always works is people be like, "Hey, you're much taller than you are on TV." And I say, "And you're much taller in person than you are on TV." And I'll say, "Well, you need a bigger TV." And it always works. It just works. I'll say, "You need a 6'4" television." They're like, "Ha ha ha," and we're done. I did that, and my daughter shot me a look. This is a bunch of years ago. She shot me a look and she said, "You've done that one before." Oh. And I said, "You want an original line for every human I meet?" And she kind of gave me a look like, yeah. You can't reuse material.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can when you're walking around a mall. What are you talking about? We really got into it, and I started screaming at her, which I promised I'd never do. I said I'd never be that dad, but that's what we got into it.
When you hosted the Oscars, I texted you. I go, "Conan, you showed us how it's done. All of us comedians are diligently taking notes. Do you have advice?" I was just about to film my special.
Mm-hmm.
And Conan wrote back, and it was very sweet. He wrote, "Thanks. Tons of prep, but I ended up having fun out there. I guess that's the only lesson."
Yeah,
and I think
that's true.
And I think that the special is, I think, the most fun that I've ever had on stage in one of the film specials.
There is something contagious about people having fun.
Yeah, this special is really specific what the preparation was. It was 70 cities over 2 years. So I toured, and every city was different. Keep making tweaks. And then my director, Seth Barish, who's directed like all 6 of my last specials, he has a theater company called the Barrow Group, and we would have these impromptu like rehearsals for whoever was around. It would be like 10 people in like a room, and I just go, "This is the story." And it wouldn't be like stand up. It wouldn't be like people bought a ticket and I would just do, the special you guys saw. Like I would just perform it and you'd see which parts just don't ring true.
Yeah.
Because you take away the inertia of like 1,000 people in a room going, yay. And it's just like me telling you a story. It starts to be like, oh, okay, well, that part's a little bullshit. And this part really feels like something.
Yes, that's the part of it that speaks to something I don't understand. There's a almost mystical quality to some of this mass communication or whatever we want to call it, but it's specifically comedy where, and the same thing is true in music where you can try and over and over and over and over again to get them to like the thing that they don't like or that they don't respond to. And you can keep tweaking it and working it. But when you find those real things, those nuggets, they just have a palpable weight. They have and sometimes you just find them conversationally with your friends or out in the world. You find something, you're like, oh, this is great. This is, there's something about this phrase or this story with this, and that's the part where it's funny because we started this and I asked you off mic because you talk a lot about your dad having a stroke. And it sounds, like it was a pretty serious neurological event. And this is another thing I can relate to. Because your dad's a doctor, he starts to try and take control of his own care. And I watched your special and I went right to my dad 20 years ago being diagnosed with colon cancer. And they go in and they do the major surgery, not orthoscopic, but they go in and they do the major abdominal incision and take out a section of his intestine and sew him back up again. And he wakes up after the operation and there are these tubes going in and they're basically anesthesia to block the nerves so that he doesn't feel the pain. And he looked at them and he said, what is this? And they said, well, this is to keep you from feeling the agony of this abdominal surgery. And he said, it will slow recovery. Take it out. And they said, no, we just cut through you with a buzzsaw and took out. And my dad said, take it out. And they took it out. I flew home because I was in Los Angeles. I flew home to see my dad and thinking, and I said, I'll stop off at my parents' house first in Brookline and drop off my stuff and go right to the hospital to visit my dad. And this is like the day after the operation. I arrived because I would have been in New York. So I flew in, had to do a show, flew in. I don't have a key to the house. I ring the doorbell. The door opens. It's my dad opening the door.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. He had his intestine removed the day before.
Oh my gosh.
And he's standing there white as a sheet. He was like, it is good to see you, son.
Oh my gosh.
And I can tell he's basically been gutted like a fish, but he knew that you can recover quickly with no anesthesia or a little bit longer and feel comfort. And he did that. And that's when I thought, there's so much in your special where I thought, yep, I can check that box too.
Yeah.
There's so much I can check
No,
off.
it's such a strange thing watching a neurologist. My dad is a neurologist being treated by a neurologist, and they're essentially conferring with each other about what has happened.
And then your dad gave the doctor a bill.
Yeah.
Or here's my bill, and here's my bill.
We'll go Dutch.
There was a point where when he was in the hospital early on, where my brother Joe said to me, he goes, I went to see Dad today, and he said in the middle of the night they took me downstairs and I got hit by a truck, and I was like, Dad, it's worse than that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, it's oddly like, it's a shocking experience what he's been through.
And how's his recovery going?
His recovery's okay. I mean, a few weeks ago, he had pneumonia and the flu at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just becomes, I mean, the special, I mean, the special has been an interesting process for me because I wasn't planning on writing about it. I started writing about what can I teach my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year into writing that show, my dad has the stroke. And so then I'm like, okay, what can I teach my daughter? What have I learned from my dad? And in the process of it, I feel like I've learned to empathize with my dad in this way that I don't think I did when I was younger. I think I just viewed him as larger than life.
Yep.
And not quite as a person.
Yep.
And I think it's been very healthy and healing.
You know what helped me a lot is when my daughter was born, and then 2 years later, my son was born. And I remember telling my wife, no matter what we do, they're going to go to a therapist and have complaints or issues, because that's just how it is. And if you accept that up front and you're not defensive about it, I think we're all doing the best we can.
Yes.
And that includes our parents and their parents. We're all doing, well, that's not true. There are parents that are not doing the best they can, but most people are doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my kids in years. But my manager and my agent tell me they are prospering.
Well, I spoke with your publicist about the modeling that your children are doing.
Yes. And, I got them into modeling.
I know you're getting the checks from it.
Well, they say that once they turned 18, they're supposed to get the money.
Yeah.
But I am fighting that. And this is reminding me of this crazy riff I did
so off-brand for Conan.
With Bob Newhart, who passed about, I want to say a year and a half ago, but we were doing some, I might have been doing, he did a podcast for a while, and I don't know if I was talking to him, but we got on this crazy riff about doing stuff for charities, and we both started doing this thing about how, and then when it's sick kids, and then you're supposed to give them the money. And it was so great because Bob Newhart, who's, a saint, but he was so dry, and he was like, oh, I know, tell me about it. And, and we were both doing this fake riff about how we were trying to hide the money for the children's hospital. And that's what I love is that when you can go that dark with people who are, at that point, he would have been 94. And he can go that dark and wants to go that dark.
Oh, yeah.
And you realize, this is just universal. We're all terrible people.
No, and this show is definitely the darkest of my specials just by the subject matter.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's been an interesting thing because there's that joke where I say, my dad had a stroke and it's been devastating, but I will say it has calmed him down.
Right.
You know?
We have a lot of lines like that get big laughs. But if you're also touching a third rail, which is the whole point.
Right. But it's interesting because when people laugh at that and there was a point at which early in the development, I was like, oh, that's a little tense. And then I would say to the audience, I go, a lot of the jokes tonight are for me.
Yeah.
Most of them are for you, but a few are for me. This is a coping mechanism, and I hope it is for you too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing I've realized in the process of writing this show is that like comedy for all of us is a coping mechanism of some kind.
Oh, it's a total defense mechanism, coping mechanism. I've often said, I just, as a very young child, went through my checklist of, I know everyone's given certain superpowers. What are mine? And I went through, nope. And then I got, my friends think I'm funny. We're going to double and triple down.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be an athletic scholarship. The show, The Good Life, is on Netflix. It's your 6th special overall, but your 4th on Netflix. They probably don't want you to acknowledge anything that wasn't on Netflix.
True.
So, and I believe that's either out now or out any day.
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, it's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's available everywhere.
Watch it because you do beautiful work, Mike. You really do. And there's a bunch of these young comedians who come from a generation or two before me who I really adore, you and Mulaney, and I mean the list goes on and on and on, but just that do really great work, and I watch you guys and it makes me happy. Makes me happy like, comedy is in very good hands. it's time for me to die.
Mike Birbiglia needs a friend.
Yeah,
There we go.
There
There
we
we go.
We have agreed that you will slide right in.
It's official.
It's
Yeah.
official.
Starting now.
Yeah. No, wait a minute.
What?
Oh,
Okay, we can do it. Give me a couple of months to
All
get my affairs in order.
Mm-hmm.
But congratulations on another amazing show, and thank you for making it. It really made me feel very connected to you, and also really laugh. And so this is good medicine for all. And now, quick disclaimer: Pope Francis did not speak with that Italian accent.
Conan O'Brien, disrespect my grave.
I'm up in the heaven now, and I have to listen to this shit. All right, Mike, thank you very much.
This is such an honor. It's my favorite podcast, and I just appreciate you guys having me on.
I'll see you
so
soon.
much.
I'll see you.
Yeah, we'll see you in New
in a
York.
couple of weeks.
Yep.
All right, we do have to address something, which is before the interview officially began with Mike Birbiglia, we start yapping. And we always do this.
Yeah.
And then we don't record on that, or we don't usually air that, because we start with hi, my name is blank and I feel blank. And, but we thought, well, we should stop doing that. We should just start playing this stuff, because it was a good area.
Yeah,
we had some fun, and it was before the official start of the podcast. So we were just chatting.
Sometimes I will take those things and splice them in the interview, but funnily enough, this one was so crazy energy that when you guys actually started the podcast, you both got really sober and somber, and they would never cut together.
I know. That's the thing, is I came in hot.
yes.
I come in hot sometimes, and you were actually worried because my energy was very high in a good way. I mean, I was in a great mood.
Yeah.
I love Mike Birbiglia. I'm happy to be here. Nice to see you guys. I'm kind of jazzed. And then I have the biggest cup of coffee in the world. And you were worried, like, he's going to go up from here.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I came in hot. Birbiglia, or as I call him, Birbigs. Which doesn't really work as a nickname.
No, I didn't hear you call him that once.
Never did. I just thought of it right now.
I think that's his Instagram handle, isn't it?
Birbigs.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'd go with Birbiggie
Yeah.
if I was him.
I'd say Birbigaroni.
I'd go Birbigin.
Notorious Birbig.
Well, what was it we were talking about? Because I can't
We were
remember
talking
now.
about how Birbiglia is offering that when you die, he will do Mike Birbiglia Needs a Friend and take Sona and I on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which brings up a very good point. We don't have a succession plan.
Yeah.
And we need one.
We do. I mean, I don't know when this drops, but we've just lost the Pope, and that's a whole process they go through for finding someone. It's usually a conclave.
Yeah.
I don't know if there would be a conclave to find who takes over this podcast should something happen to me.
Who would be in? Well, these three would be in it.
Yeah,
Blay,
you'd
Eduardo,
have
and Adam would
Blay,
be in it.
Yeah.
Eduardo, and Adam would
We're
be in it.
Cardinals.
For sure.
You
or
guys-
are we in the running? I don't want to. I'm
But also, do
removing
you wanna,
myself.
I don't think you guys want to host it.
No.
You, let me just tell you something. Host, it's a very high pressure position.
Is it?
And I think you guys get to go like, what? What's he talking about? Eye roll. And then you get the check, and it's all nice. To be the tent pole, to be the one who's in the F-16 piloting it.
Oh, you think that's what you're doing?
Anyway, Sona, he's right. So we should just co-host.
Okay, yeah, we could just do that.
So who should it be? Will it be Birbiglia? Who will take over this podcast?
I think he's a strong contender.
Who else would it be? Who else do we think would have the, I mean, very few people, and this sounds like I'm thinking it's not even a humble brag, it's just a brag.
Oh.
But who else would have my combination of skills?
Oh.
Wow. This is a
read
really...
off of a paper. That's so much work.
I know.
Someone just tears out a page from a 1978 Yellow Pages.
Let's get this plumber. Oh no, what do? Someone gives me the research and then I gotta ask questions.
Occasionally I got to
How
doodle while
hard
I'm
is
talking
my
to people.
questions?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
my job is so hard.
Guys, I know it looks to you like I just come in here and babble like a
Yep.
chimp.
Yes, yes, it does.
And then
Yeah, and
somehow
that's
it's
what
cobbled
it is.
together. And
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, that's not what I do. I
Oh.
spend hours preparing my body.
Oh.
There's a whole regimen of various tubs filled with different oils at a different temperature. There's a whole thing that happens.
Oh my God.
So you get deep fried.
Various oils. No, I think you guys should be thinking about it. Adam, you should be thinking about who would step in. And you're the podcast whisperer here. You're the one that thought I should do a podcast and started this insanity.
As we're talking about it now, I'm actually thinking that I've been a little derelict in my duties because I should have all the like big companies are talking about what's the Disney succession plan. Everyone needs to have when their leader is aging. Everyone needs to have like
wait a minute.
Succession plan.
Wait a minute.
So
Adam,
I
wait
just
a minute.
think it's my responsibility to come up with
Adam, I was certain we were talking about either an accident or me deciding to retire to my pony farm upstate.
And what do you mean is aging? How about has aged? You know?
What about has aged badly? I think it's legitimate. I'm going to overlook the way you said it, but I do think,
it should be my responsibility. And I think Birbiglia is a great candidate.
Although I will say this, every special he has is about his medical ailments. Today we found out that he was born without bones.
Yeah.
He has no bones. He uses coat hangers that are strapped to the outside of his body to remain.
He doesn't have much time left either.
I would worry about Birbiglia's health because every special he does is about, oh, and by the way, I have another condition where my gums are growing into my heart. You know?
So would you, well, here's the thing though. I think you should be grooming your successor.
I don't like the word grooming anymore.
Yeah,
it's got some bad connotations.
Well, this brings up this question. Is this like a democracy or a conclave, or do you get to appoint a successor? It seems like the autocrat would be the way you want to go.
And Sona, you had suggested maybe it's more like Succession. I'm
like,
Logan Roy.
You're Logan. You're definitely a Kendall.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
He is. He's Kendall. You're a very Kendall.
You're very Kendall-esque.
Right.
And
and
you're
of
not
course,
a Roman.
You're Shiv.
Yeah, I'm Shiv. But you don't think you're a Tom?
Oh, and you know what?
Tom.
Blay is the guy. Who's the guy who is out in Montana?
Connor?
Yeah. Blay is Connor.
Yeah. I'm more a Tom than a Kendall.
You are a Tom.
Blay thinks he's going to run for president and no one takes him seriously. And
I see myself as more of a Greg.
That's true. But
little bumbly, smarmy.
Yes. You know what? You are more of a Greg than a Connor.
Yeah.
And Eduardo's just Eduardo.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, you're not, there's no way to make you someone else.
There's no Latinos on Succession.
Yo, snap.
Well, he's like a Mattson. He's more of a Mattson. Cool guy, right?
No, I think Jerry. He's Jerry.
If I get the same paycheck, sure.
As me?
Sign me up, yeah.
Well, there's not a lot of money in this. I mean, there was at one point.
Anyway, we don't have any more time to play the clip.
Well, yeah, this is...
Yeah, play the clip.
This is
play the clip.
This is like Succession, though, if nobody wanted your job, though. Like, it's like, who's not going to get it?
And in Succession, the company was very sought after and powerful. This is very different this is people saying, I don't want that. I'm going to work at a shoe store instead. All right, play the clip.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, man. Have we got a lot to talk about? This is one of those ones where I want to get right into it because we have so much to talk about.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot.
You and your special will not come up.
Okay, got it.
You understand?
No. Let me just write this down.
Kind of what I've got going on.
No promotions.
No promotions.
No promotions. No mentions of projects.
Have you met the... Well, this is Sona.
Sona.
And Mark.
Mark. Sonos and Mark.
I just like to keep him on his toes.
Listen, I came in a little hot. I apologize. I saw someone who shouldn't be here.
Yep.
And it infuriated me. And
no, I get it.
You know what I mean, right? You don't just let people wander around.
First of all, I brought notes again.
Okay, listen.
I love how prepared you are.
I got
a stack of notes.
The last person who I saw bring that many notes was Gary Shandling, and he's dead.
Oh my God!
Dead. And maybe I think because of the notes.
That was going to be one of my notes today. Is when I just want to pitch this to Matt and Sona. When Conan dies, and I'm not saying he's going to die soon. Mike Birbiglia needs a friend.
Okay.
Yes.
We don't have to wait for that.
No. And we have.
Wow. Or we can hasten
Before we begin, I have one question.
No, that's part of it. That's part of it. Keep it in.
This can't be part of the keep it in.
No, that's part of keep it in.
Wasn't clear to me at the end. Dad, okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your dad.
My dad is okay now. Yep.
He's better.
He's better.
Okay,
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure
Yep.
before we get into it because
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna really roast him, and I want to make sure he's okay.
Oh, shit.
Listen, it's what we do in Massachusetts.
Oh.
It is. It really is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These two California soft
I
little
know.
babies.
Well, sort of
Like,
via
I'm really glad you're in my
Croatia,
life.
wherever the
Matt.
heck he's from.
Same.
So
Croatia.
but for real, when Conan dies, it is important that you know that you will be the first two people who I want to have on Mike Birbiglia and
True story.
You're gonna make us you're gonna make something
I don't know
happen.
why. I want to start.
We are,
But you guys have created this thing that has to happen first, where they go, "Hi, my name is Mike Birbiglia, and I feel nauseous about being." And because we have to do that, we can't record any of this shit. You created the perfect trap.
It's all being recorded.
Look at
though.
this. This is how an guy with ESP does a podcast. That's a funny bit.
we're ready to come
Oh
be
my
on your
God.
podcast.
Yeah,
now.
Mike Birbiglia needs a friend, you said. Okay, we're in. We're
Conan,
in.
let me tell you a few things about television. They're rolling right now, so we can use all of it.
It's not television. It's not television. It's a podcast that's being recorded.
Oh my God. I hope there's no caffeine in whatever you're drinking.
There's a Valium in there.
Oh God.
Okay, over to you, Mike. Whenever you're ready.
Whenever you want to start. It's lots of fun to do. If you like it, holler yeah, and if you don't, you holler boo.
Oh no.
I listened to our last episode, and Yay Boo in the comments is beloved. People love Yay Boo.
Oh yeah, well I could sing another one of his tunes, and I don't know if we brought that up.
Oh, we
but,
have, yeah.
yeah. Boy,
Don't-
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start it.
All right.
Okay, fake start and go.